Famous people who passed away in 1776. This is the episode 2. Before we proceed, please subscribe to our channel to support us. John Gabriel Jones. He was born in June 1752 and he died in December 1776. His age was 24 at the time of his death, and he was killed in action. He was an early American lawyer and politician who played a significant role in advocating for settlement in Kentucky. His life was cut short during conflicts with Native American tribes. Nathan Hale. He was born in June 1755 and he died in September 1776. His age was 21 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was execution. He was an American patriot and spy executed during the Revolutionary War. His famous declaration, "I only regret that I have but one life to lose for my country," symbolizes self-sacrifice for freedom. Richard Peters. He was born in 1704 and he died in July 1776. His age was 72 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a legal expert and Anglican cleric in colonial America, known for his efforts in codifying Pennsylvania's law and his service in colonial government. Cadwallader Colden. He was born in February 1688 and he died in September 1776. His age was 88 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a scientist and politician in colonial New York, celebrated for his studies in botany and physics, as well as his governance in pre-revolutionary America. Joseph Arnold. He was born in September 1710 and he died in August 1776. His age was 65 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was fever. He was a pre-revolutionary resident of North Kingstown and Exeter in the colony of Rhode Island and Providence plantations. He is most noted for having a very large progeny, having had 16 children, of whom 15 grew to maturity, married and had children of their own, giving him at least 89 grandchildren. Countess Palatine Francisca Christina of Salzburg. She was born in May 1696 and she died in July 1776. Her age was 80 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was undisclosed. She was a German noblewoman and abbess known for her contributions to music and the arts within the ecclesiastical realms she governed. Richard Banfield. He was born in November 1722 and he died in July 1776. His age was 53 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a poet and politician celebrated for his lyrical portrayal of British rural landscapes. His poems captured the beauty of 18th century England. Francis Salvador. He was born in 1747 and he died in August 1776. His age was 29 at the time of his death, and he was killed in battle. He was an English-born American plantation owner in the colony of South Carolina. He was the first professing Jew to be elected to public office in the colonies when chosen for the provincial Congress. He had joined the independence cause, and in 1776 was the first Jew killed in the American Revolutionary War, fighting with the militia on the South Carolina frontier against Loyalists and their Cherokee allies. Benedicta Margareta von Loendel. She was born in 1683 and she died in 1776. Her age was 93 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was undisclosed. She was a German business person. She founded and managed ironworks on her estate from 1725 until 1776 and became the greatest entrepreneur. In Niederlausitz, a street and a college in Lochhammer was named after her. Edward Bentham. He was born in July 1707 and he died in August 1776. His age was 69 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was an Anglican theologian and academic recognized for his contributions to religious education and his steadfast defense of Anglican orthodoxy. Louis Francois, Prince of Conti. He was born in August 1717 and he died in August 1776. His age was 58 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a French nobleman involved in political affairs and military campaigns. He was also a noted patron of the arts. Charles Cathcart, 9th Lord Cathcart. He was born in March 1721 and he died in August 1776. His age was 55 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Scottish nobleman who served as a diplomat and military officer. His tenure as ambassador to Russia highlighted his career. He was also chief of the clan Cathcart. David Hume. He was born in May 1711 and he died in August 1776. His age was 65 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Scottish Enlightenment philosopher whose work profoundly influenced modern thought. In empiricism and skepticism, known for his sharp intellect, he left an indelible mark on philosophy and historiography. Angelica Legros Perotti. She was born in 1719 and she died in September 1776. Her age was 57 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was undisclosed. She was an Italian painter and pastelist of the Rococo period, active at first in northern Italy and Venice. She married the painter Pietro Antonio Perotti. In 1768, the Perottis moved to London. She exhibited at least 5 works at the Royal Academy in 1772 and 1775. Charles Cadogan, 2nd Baron Cadogan. He was born in 1685 and he died in September 1776. His age was 91 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a British peer and politician, known for his service in Parliament and management of his family's estate. He joined the army serving during the War of the Spanish Succession, where he saw action at the Battle of Oudenarde and Malplaquet. He was a senior general in the British Army. Elizabeth Percy, Duchess of Northumberland. She was born in December 1716 and she died in December 1776. Her age was 60 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was undisclosed. She was a British noblewoman, renowned for her cultural patronage and influence in high society. Her salons were centers of intellectual and artistic exchange. Robert A. Drummond. He was born in November 1711 and he died in December 1776. His age was 65 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was an English clergyman who served as Archbishop of York. His leadership and theological writings were significant in 18th century Anglicanism. James Ferguson. He was born in April 1710 and he died in November 1776. His age was 66 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Scottish, self-taught astronomer and inventor. His works on celestial mechanics and his mechanical models of the solar system inspired many in the field of science. Théophile de Bordeaux. He was born in February 1722 and he died in November 1776. His age was 54 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a French physician whose pioneering studies on glands advanced medical understanding of physiology. He was a key figure in 18th century French medicine. Victor Thérèse Charpentier. He was born in March 1732 and he died in December 1776. His age was 44 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Marquis and later Count of Annery. He was Governor General of Saint Dominique in the mid to late 18th century. He was also Governor of Martinique from 1765 to 1768 and also the Governor General of Windward Islands from 1768 to 1771, 4 years before his death. Fernando da Silva, 12th Duke of Alba. He was born in October 1714 and he died in November 1776. His age was 62 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was the Duke of Alba as a Spanish politician and general who was Prime Minister of Spain in 1754. He contributed to Spain's international relations and was a patron of the arts. In 1754, he was made director of the Real Academia Española, a function he held until his death in 1776. Carl Gotthelf von Hund. He was born in September 1722 and he died in November 1776. His age was 54 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was fever. He was a German nobleman, key figure in European Freemasonry, establishing the influential rite of strict observance. His legacy remains significant in Masonic traditions. Simon de Anda y Salata. He was born in October 1709 and he died in October 1776. His age was 67 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Spanish colonial governor who played a pivotal role in the Philippines during tumultuous times, advocating for reforms and resisting British occupation. John Ellis. He was born in 1710 and he died in October 1776. His age was 66 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a British naturalist whose studies of coral and marine life expanded understanding of natural world. His detailed observations influenced 18th century biology. He exported many seeds and native plants from North America to England. He corresponded with many botanists, including Carl Linnaeus. Pierre-François Le Courrier. He was born in November 1681 and he died in October 1776. His age was 95 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a French theologian known for his writings advocating for religious tolerance. His works sought to bridge Catholic and Protestant divisions. Princess Sophie of Saxe-Hildburghausen. She was born in February 1760 and she died in October 1776. Her age was 16 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was influenza. She was a German noblewoman whose marriage and diplomacy strengthened alliances among the principalities of Germany during the 18th century. Muhammad al-Waqi, he was born in 1713 and he died in 1776. His age was 63 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Tunisian writer and poet in the 18th century. He belonged to the tribe of Voka, which was settling near the city of Kaf in the south, or said to be the border of Tunisia and Algeria. He was imprisoned in 1755 during the reign of Muhammad I al-Rashid and died in 1776. Kamaraja Wudiyar VIII. He was born in August 1759 and he died in September 1776. His age was 17 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was the 12th Maharaja of the Kingdom of Mysore from 1770 for 6 years until 1776. He reigned under the powerful control Sarvadhikari Hyder Ali. Thanks for watching the video. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Have a nice day.